Hare Krishna, very dear devotees. Welcome back once again to our continuous lectures on the glories of our beloved Sri Vrindavan Dham. But first, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastatya Deshatarine. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, the revealer of the Dham. So we are continuing with our mini-series on Stimulation for Ecstatic Love, and this will be part 107. Today we will continue to discuss the fourth quality of Krishna, as we've been doing, that distinguishes him from Lord Narayan, namely Rupa Madhuri, his extraordinary beauty. And today we will discuss Krishna's eyes. I was looking forward to this lecture, Krishna's eyes. As we did in last week's lecture, we'll begin by reciting a poem written by the great poet Surdas, simply to understand and appreciate the longing that pure devotees have to see Krishna's lotus eyes, to see those beautiful lotus eyes. In the temple of Srinathji in Nathdwar, there is a tradition during Mangal Arti to sing a beautiful poem written by Surdas, which is known as Ashakapada. Ashakapada. Translated, it means the Song of Hopes. And it goes like this. O Nagara Nandakishore, when will you look at me with your beautiful eyes? I am looking at your beautiful eyes with all my hope, but unfortunately you do not spare your kind and merciful glances upon me. If I am your servant, life after life, then why do you hesitate to look at me with your merciful glance? Surdas says, with the hope of being the object of your kind and merciful glance, I sacrifice my everything to you. Once again, we're indebted to Surdas. Now in Krishna book, chapter 38, Srila Prabhupada also stresses the importance of meditating on Krishna's lotus eyes as a stimulation for ecstatic love. He writes, Akrura was requested by Kamsa to arrive in Vrindavan by evening. After receiving instruction from Kamsa, Akrura started the next morning via a chariot for Vrindavan. Because Akrura himself was a great devotee of the Lord, while going to Vrindavan, he began to pray to the Lord. Devotees are always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna, and Akrura was constantly thinking of Lord Krishna's lotus eyes. Another example. And being a resident of the spiritual world, namely Goloka Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada knew everything about Krishna. He knows everything about Krishna. Thus, one time in a moment of intimacy, he actually revealed the color of Krishna's lotus eyes. Yes, he revealed the color of Krishna's lotus eyes. My god sister Govindadasi recounts. This was a talk she gave and it's been recorded. She said, when we first met Srila Prabhupada and told him we were artists, he immediately decided to engage us in making some paintings. The first painting that he engaged us in was a 4-foot by 4-foot painting of Radha and Krishna that was to be hung in the San Francisco temple. I had no idea what Radha and Krishna looked like, so Prabhupada handed us a book cover to study. In the course of painting, I couldn't tell what color Krishna's eyes were, since the picture I was copying from was too small. In those days, it was very common to go and ask Swamiji questions. We could see him at almost any time of the day, except during his nap. And so one day, I went up and asked him, Swamiji, what color are Krishna's eyes? Prabhupada got this very deep, meditative look on his face, as if he were looking far away, as if he were looking at Krishna. He paused, and then he said, they are blackish. They are blackish. I remember Jadharani had a similar experience when she also asked Prabhupada a question about a certain feature of Krishna, and he looked away as if he were looking at the form of the Lord. Thank you, Govinda Dasi. Now, Srila Rupa Goswami also refers to this blackish color in Krishna's eyes in his famous Nikunja Rahasya Stava. It's one book he wrote. Nikunja Rahasya Stava. He writes, Sri Radha's body is yellow, like gold, and Krishna's body is blue, like a cloud. Their eyes are like blue and red lotuses. Their black irises tinted with rose color around the edges. So there we hear this blackness. Black irises tinted with rose color around the edges. Tilak designs of musk deer adorn their foreheads, and they're garlanded by malati and kundamalas. Wow, kundamalas. Their deep blue and pitambara outfits, which is of a yellow color, match their new youth. O my mind, just meditate on Radha and Krishna in the gardens of Braj. Now the Brajbasi poet named Govinda Sharnadas, he also refers in great detail about the eyes of Krishna, as well as Sri Radha's to some extent, in one of his famous poems as well. Govinda Sharnadas was a late 18th century poet and a well-known devotee scholar. I was reading he belonged to the Nimbarka Sampradaya and was a long-time resident of Braj. He composed many books, such as Braja Muktavali and Ananda Vihara Mahotsava. In Vrindavan, his poetry is still sung in Rasalila theaters and some local temples as well. So one time, he writes, and this is so beautiful, it's going to melt your hearts. It's one of my favorite things I've ever read. He writes, a group of gopis said to Srimati Radharani, O Radhe, your eyes are a gift of the divine. Vrindavan is blessed to witness your pair of eyes. Radha replied to the gopis, O my dear friends, these eyes are useless without the glimpse of the eyes of Shyam. His eyes are the true blessing for my eyes. The depth of his eyes puts to shame deep oceans. His eyes make dark clouds melt. The whiteness of his eyes brings sadness to the white milk ocean. The redness of his eyes is the pride of coral reefs. O Saki, hold me. My mind is running out of my body to behold those eyes of Krishna. Vidyut Lata Saki replied. Vidyut Lata Saki replied, O Radhe, your eyes are even more beautiful than the eyes of Krishna. To which Vrindadevi commented, Krishna's eyes are the life of Gokula, Gokula Jivana. The blinking of his eyes is like visiting paradise. His eyes are even more beautiful when the image of our Radhika reflects in them. The eyes of Radhika are the dark monsoon clouds, and Krishna's long glances are the lightning in those clouds. Lalita entered the conversation. O Vindaju, in the dark moonless nights of Braj, the eyes of Radhesham are the only light for all Brajabasis. When Krishna blinks, it feels like the whole world has fallen into the dark moonless night of Amavasya. When he opens his eyes wide, it feels like 7 moons manifest and glow in the beautiful forests of Braj. Placing a hand on her heart, beautiful Vishaka said, O Lalite, you said it so well. My heart is mesmerized just remembering his eyes, which are like a dagger to the gopis' hearts. His deep gazes and playful winks at his cowherd friends amaze our minds. To this, Induleka Saki said, Well said, Sakiju. Not only the maidens of Braj are amazed by his winks and playful glances, but I have seen the vines, birds, trees, flowers, cows, and even goddesses from the higher planets become mesmerized and lost in his eyes. With tear-filled eyes, Bhanumati Saki said, "O dear Saki, the eyes of Sham talk wordlessly to all the residents of Braj. These eyes smile, laugh, play, talk, tease, and reward anyone without doing anything." Holding the hands of Bhanumati Saki, Vilam Bita Saki said, "O dear friend, these eyes are magical. Whoever sees them is lost for ages. They never dare to leave Braja after seeing those eyes, and thus they wish to become the vision of those eyes, birth after birth." At that moment, Sri Radhika became overwhelmed to see the eyes of her Shyam, and all the Sakis started arranging the meeting of Radha and Shyam. The poet Govinda Sharna says, "May the eyes of Shyamasundar protect one and all." What a beautiful conclusion. May the eyes of Shyamasundar protect one and all. We are indebted to that poet. Hare Krishna. Now in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.162, we hear Lord Chaitanya making a similar prayer for our protection while referring to Krishna's lotus eyes. Rupa Goswami writes that Lord Chaitanya was once overwhelmed with ecstatic love upon seeing the beauty of the Gopal deity, Srinathji, discovered, as we know, by Madhavinda Puri on Govardhan Hill. On that occasion, the Lord recited the following verse while chanting and dancing before the deity. This is from the lotus mouth of Mahaprabhu, also mentioning Krishna's eyes. He said, "May the left arm of Sri Krishna, whose eyes are like the petals of a lotus, always protect you." With his left arm, he raised Govardhan Hill as if it were a toy. Mahaprabhu. So, we can ask the question that if we sincerely take the advice of Lord Chaitanya, or Rupa Goswami, as we've heard in this lecture, Srila Prabhupada, or any of our other acharyas, to meditate and reflect on Krishna's lotus eyes, what will be the result? We posed a similar question a few classes ago. What will be the result of meditating and reflecting on these beautiful lotus eyes of Krishna, which is described, go almost to his ears? The result will be that Krishna will always and forever manifest his beauty and his sweetness to us. For that, Prabhus, is the conclusion of Srila Bivamangal Thakur in his famous Krishna Karnamrita, text 112. He writes, "O Krishna, while remembering the soft sounds of your flute and your eyes spread wide with mercy, I pray that wherever my eyes wander, you will always manifest your beauty and sweetness to me." We'll recite that again. "O Krishna, while remembering the soft sounds of your flute and your eyes spread wide with mercy, I pray that wherever my eyes wander, you will always manifest your beauty and sweetness to me." Confirmed. So reflecting on Krishna's eyes wide with mercy, I was thinking will also benefit us in our final moments in this body at the time of death. This is confirmed and clearly stated once again by one of our favorite poets, Surdas. And we can greatly benefit by hearing this pastime, with which we will conclude today. They were actually his final words on his deathbed. Historically, as he lay there, the son of Vallabhacharya, named Vital, asked Surdas, he's on his death, Vital is coming to say goodbye. He asked Surdas, "Surdas, what are you thinking about at this moment?" And as a way of replying, Surdas composed what would be his last poem. He actually sang it as a song. And here it is. What a wonderful way to conclude today. He sang on his deathbed. Krishna's beautiful eyes are like Kanjana birds, full of rasa, very restless, and slightly reddened due to intoxication. Seeing this, my life cannot remain in the cage of this body any longer. Once again, Krishna's beautiful eyes are like Kanjana birds, full of rasa, very restless, and slightly reddened due to intoxication. Seeing this, my life cannot remain in the cage of this body any longer. That's his swan song. There's that term. Before you pass, a great devotee or say something in glorification of Krishna, or whatever. With that, he left this world and departed for Goloka Vrindavan. I was thinking, may we be so fortunate to also remember Krishna's eyes at the end of our lives. Thank you, Surdas. Hare Krishna. I so much enjoyed researching the subject matter of Krishna's eyes and delivering it, sharing it with all of you. And I believe we have perhaps a second or even a third class more about Krishna's eyes. So I'm in Mayapur right now. We're leaving in a couple days for a excursion to all ISKCON's temples in the south of the country with the second volume of my series. My lectures have been transcribed into a series called Vrindavan Forest, the Forest of Vrindavan. The first one was about the pastime places on the western side of the Jamuna, and this new book, which just came out, is about the pastimes, personalities, and mood, etc., on the eastern side of the Jamuna. So we have 2 books so far. So we'll be busy traveling, but I'll be back next Friday, and the Fridays after that, a couple Fridays after that, with more nectar on Krishna's lotus eyes. Thank you so much, Prabhus. Shishi Gaur Nitai ki, Shishi Krishna Balaram ki, Shishi Radhashama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Jai Jai Sisi Radhe Shyam. Glory to Krishna's beautiful lotus eyes. Glories to Srila Prabhupada, the revealer of all this knowledge. Hare Krishna.